Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Sid's Little Corner of the Internet. This is Sid Sr. speaking, and we're bringing you another Transformers review. This time around, we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Studio Series number 71, Dino. So as we always do here, let's take a look at that packaging first, and we'll move the little guy back. Bring that box forward. And right there on the front, you have Autobot Dino, number 71, Transformers Dark of the Moon, Transformers on the side, Karatomi. You have some full body CGI artwork on that side. On the back, you have your product shots, big screen inspired, high speed chase. As the Dreads pursue the Autobots in an attempt to take Sentinel Prime, Autobot Dino latches his blades onto Hatchet and steers him into oncoming traffic. So that's actually one of the more lengthy bios that you get for Studio Series figures. So nice. Backdrops included. We do have the sad baby and all the warnings right there. A close-up of his face. And on the bottom, you have manufacturing information. On top, you have Transformers Dark of the Moon. And that's it for the packaging. So let's take a look at what came in there. And the first thing that we'll do is we will start with that display base. So you do have, as is known for the Studio Series, you do have these display bases which capture a moment from the film. And in this case, this is the highway scene. So, of course, you can put Dino in there. Actually, I need to bring his wings forward a little bit more. So he does have that display ability if you choose to do that. I personally do not with mine. I don't have enough room on my shelves. So these always go back in the box, but it's there if you want to use it, and great. You know, these are nice. So I'm happy that they include them. I just don't happen to use them. All right, so let's move this out of the way and talk about everybody's favorite, all the warnings and all the languages. Yay. And then he comes with his instructions. Again, clear, concise. Not a lot else to say about him. He does only come with 2 accessories, and those 2 accessories are his blades. So they are identical. Bring those in for a close-up if we can get some contrast here. So you do have some decent detail in there. There's absolutely no paint on these. These are just molded in black plastic. So not a lot to see. They are a hard plastic, but they're not sharp, so you're not going to hurt anybody or yourself with them. And like I say, there are 2 of them. And those just simply plug into the ports on the backs of his arms. So you have a port there and a port there, and you just plug them in as such. Get the other one plugged in. And kind of maybe give him a little bit of a look like that so you can see the blades. All right, so that's it as far as accessories go. So let's go ahead and talk about details and articulation on this guy. So let's bring him in for his close-up. And we'll take a look at that oh so handsome face. I mean, look at that guy. He looks like a cross between a bird and a squid and I don't know what else. But that's something. That's a face only a mother could love. All right, down here in the chest, pretty decent amount of detail there. Now, he is one of the more organic looking. I know the Bayverse, they love to have the insectoid organic look, but he is one of the more organic insectoid looking Autobots. I mean, he's humanoid in the fact that he has 2 arms, 2 legs, but everything else is pretty alien on this guy. Got detail down there in the legs. Got the feet painted with some silver. Got some nice detail built into the sides. Not a lot of paint on this guy. So it's a lot of molded black and gray and red. And then he's got those black hands right, or those gray hands, excuse me. And some good detail inside there. And there he is from the front. And here he is from the back. So door wings are pretty common, particularly in the Bayverse, so no surprise about the door wings here. Now, for articulation, I have to say that I'm a little let down on the limited articulation in this guy compared to some of the other Studio Series figures have limited articulation as well, but the bar was just set so high with the Studio Series 86 with what they were able to do with those. And I have to believe that that was a different design group that produced the Studio Series 86 figures versus the standard run-of-the-mill Studio Series figures, because it feels to me like this is a bit of a step back. But let's go ahead and talk about that articulation. So he does have limited articulation here. There is really no side-to-side in the head. You do get some up and down, so it's limited, but you do get it. And then same thing here. You get limited turn before you start running into these collar pieces right there. So not a lot of movement in the head. And for the arms, they can come up this far, and then you can utilize the second hinge to get them up just a little bit higher. And they're not quite going to go all the way around. You're going to start interfering with stuff, so you're going to get it about right there before you really start interfering with the door geometry and, of course, all of this accordioned car pieces back there. So you can get them up about that high, and if you take the blades off, which I will take this blade off, you can get them back about there, again, before you start running into these doors. The doors themselves are articulated, so you do have the ability to rotate these. They go down that far and up that far before they run into the geometry of the shoulder. And of course, there are doors, so you can swing them open or closed to get those out of your way for some posing. Now, for the rest of the arm, you do get a really good elbow bend, so a severe bend there, which is nice. And with the bicep, you get really... You could maybe, in theory, go 360 here, but because of this wheel assembly right here, this is about as far out as you're going to be able to go. You can bring the bicep in, so about there, and right there. So you're getting maybe 90 degrees of rotation out of those biceps. Not a whole lot. If you push it, you can go beyond, but now you're interfering. You're actually pushing this gray piece up against the red piece, and I don't know how good I feel about that, because at that point you have this mushroom peg in there that you start pushing out when you start to interfere that. So not a big fan of it. So the wrists, you do get wrist rotation, and this is due primarily to transformation, but it's also nice for posing. Let's move these arms out of the way. You get nothing at the waist. Again, just the way that he's designed this transformation, everything just collapses in right here. I can't see how they would have been able to put a waist rotation in anyway. For the hips are on ball joints. You can get him to do the splits about that far, which I could do way better than that. That's just a disappointing amount there. And he can kick forward that far, which is pretty good. And he can kick backward that far. So not quite the full gymnast right there, but he does have much better forward and back than he does on the side-to-side splits. You do get limited thigh rotation, and at the knee you get right at 90 for the bend, but you also have a knee rotation here. Now this is, again, due primarily to transformation, but you could take advantage of that for posing. And then down here for the feet, there is no ankle rotation, no ankle tilt, no ankle, rotation, and no ankle tilt, but you do get the forward and back on this hinge right here. So, you could get a pose, maybe something like that. But overall, limited articulation on this guy. It's a little disappointing, especially considering how much I was really looking forward to the release of this figure. So, yeah, a little let down by that. But let's go ahead and get into transformation. I'll tell you now, the transformation on this guy is not really difficult, but it is fiddly. There's a lot of panel alignments and that kind of stuff that's going on here. So I will do my best during the transformation to take it slow, give you the close-ups, and show step by step. But there's a lot of just fiddly panel alignment going on here. So let's go ahead and get started. If you want, you can get started with the hands. So if you want to take the hands and rotate them 90 degrees in, and then rotate these arms so the port is sticking out like that. And then do the same thing over here, rotate that, and then rotate, oh, I have to take this off, there we go. And then rotate this so that port is sticking out. And I took this hand too far, sorry guys. Should have the hand oriented like that. All right, and from this point, if you want, just go ahead, this is the easiest part of the transformation. Go ahead and take those door panels and flip those down. That way you have the full door. Now you're just going to grab the head, and this head and chest assembly, you're just going to pull this forward, and that's going to separate that. Just bring that head down and out of the way. While you're here, push this head in. So you should have something that looks like that. Come to the back, pull this bumper off. There are two tabs right here that go into these two slots. So just pull that bumper off and then push that down and out of your way. Then, once you do that, you are free to essentially start unfolding this guy. You're going to unaccordion this fellow. So if you want to push these out of your way and then pull up right here, and your point of rotation is essentially the hinge for these doors. So pull these 180, and then once you do that, that's going to release the rest of this, so then you can just unaccordion all of that as well. All right, once you have this, you have this bumper right here, you're just going to lift this bumper up, and then this is the hood and the front bumper. And then lift the arms up so they clear, because the next thing that you're going to do is you have a rotation right here. You're going to rotate this 180 degrees. And now I'm going to turn it over here so you can see what's going on. So you're essentially creating the outer shell of the car by doing all of this. All right, so now you're going to rotate these arms. And when you do, you have a hinge point right in here. But before we get to the hinge point, I want to show you a couple things because visibility is going to get really bad on this guy. So you have, right in here, you have some slots. They're going to correspond to these tabs right there on the forearm. So once we get everything sandwiched in here, you're actually going to align those tabs up to these slots. And you have these two ports right here. This is actually your weapon storage. So the easiest time to do it, I've found, is now, while he's wide open. You just go ahead and take these blades and align it so this tab is sticking out toward the doors. So you just go ahead and plug those blades in. And do the same thing on the other side. And those blades are going to clear right there. So when you plug everything in, you're going to need to make sure that you have enough clearance for that. Okay, and then you also have these tabs and slots on each hand because the hands are going to come together like that and connect. So there's a lot going on here with this arm assembly, and I wanted to show you that before I actually collapsed everything up. So go ahead and bring this forward, and that's going to slide up on that hinge. And when you do, now you can just go ahead and push all of this together. So you go ahead and you complete the front, at least on the outside of the car. So you have all that complete. And now you can come down in here and you can do your detail work. So you have a double hinge. You have a pin here and a pin here. You're going to rotate that, or you're going to orient that double hinge like that. And then you have a point of rotation here. You're going to just simply rotate that down until that tab that we talked about fits right up in that slot. Same thing over here. orient that, rotate that down, and now you're going to align these two wrists up, or these two hands back to back, and push them together, and then make sure that you have your tabs in your slots down here in the arms. Again, I know this is very difficult to see, so you should have that all collapsed and lined up in there. Now, the next thing that you want to do, keep these doors open, and you're going to take this head and chest assembly, you're going to swing this forward, and you're actually going to take these two collar pieces and you're going to get them just underneath the hands. So take those, spread them out a little bit if you have to so you can get past there. And then when you bring this up, it should be oriented inside the car like that. All right. Now, once you're at this step, you're going to turn your attention to the legs down here. So these hip skirts, the wheels and the fender here, you just pull those away from the hips. So you can see the difference there before and after. So do that on both sides. Pull those hip skirts out. And now this is where it gets really fiddly. This is where you start doing a whole lot of panel alignment. So after you do those hip skirts, turn the legs 180 degrees at the knee and lift those feet up. Now you're going to swing these legs up and just bring them out just a little bit and then back in to clear this chest area. Same thing here, bring them out and then back in just a little bit. So you can kind of see where this is going. So you're going to have the legs all compacted up inside of there. But what you need to do, what I do, makes life easier for me, is for this rear bumper, this is on the hinge right here, I'm just going to bring that down off the deck lid. And then I'm going to rotate this 180 degrees. And then you have tabs here and here that are going to correspond to these slots in there and in there. So we bring that bumper down. And because this is on a point of rotation, sometimes it can be a little difficult to get both of those lined up at the same time. So bear with me if I struggle. So try to get the first one in and then keep everything all squeezed together. Get the second one in. And then that way you lock your rear end in. And that helps keep everything oriented the way it should. Now you can turn your attention to these legs and these doors. So you have, on the doors, you have these holes and you have these small pins or ports right there on the feet. So you're going to need to get those aligned up. What I've found the easiest way to do is I go ahead and I bring the door, I close that door up a little bit, and then on the door itself you have these tabs right there and then right there, and they're going to slide right underneath the back of the car. So what I do is I just bring the doors and I actually slide everything up underneath first. It gives me something like that. And then what I can do is I can come down here and I can just manipulate that door just enough to get that foot in the right spot. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. So bring that door up underneath and slide that up. And I'm having a little bit of a catch right there, so hold on one second. Need to be able to clear that. There we go. That's better. All right, and then do the same thing right here. Just align that hole and that port, or that post, excuse me. And then this is where you just start to squeeze everything together. So squeeze and squeeze and squeeze some more, and when you think you're done squeezing, keep squeezing. And it looks like we have everything about as good as it's going to get on this car. So there you have Dino in his car mode. It's a nice looking car mode. Set him there so you can take a look. It's a good looking car. You know, it is almost a Ferrari, but not quite enough Ferrari for Hasbro to get sued kind of car. So it's a sporty looking car. It looks nice. Now I have a couple of issues with mine. Hopefully it's not for every copy, but this wheel is really sticky. It doesn't want to roll very well at all. This one down here, you know, is nice. This one won't. Over here, this one will roll nicely, and this one won't. So it doesn't matter which way I turn this guy, I'm going to have a wheel not moving. So either way I lose. But let's go ahead and take a look at the details on this guy, because once you get him in his car mode, it's not that bad. I am a bit of a stickler for panel lines and gaps and stuff, so I could fiddle with this guy all day just trying to get him better, but this is about as good as he's going to get. So let's go ahead and take a look at the front there. So you definitely do have hints of Ferrari in there. I think the wheels look pretty good on this guy. The painted sections don't quite match the molded plastic, but it's a close enough match. I don't think it's that big of a deal. And for the most part, everything cleans up really well in car mode. You do have a little bit of the feet sticking out right here, but it's really not that bad. I've seen worse. And then on the back, kind of a cool design. You do have that tri-tip exhaust. So that's a cool look. And then you have the right side. And there's the top. And the bottom. So you can see how everything compacts up in there. All right, so for comparison in this mode, we'll bring in a couple of other red sports cars just for fun. So first we'll bring in the Masterpiece Sideswipe just for a point of comparison. So you can see a red sports car with a red sports car. And then we'll bring in Cliff Jumper from the Transformers Prime series. So there you go. 3 red sports cars all lined up looking for trouble. Now, obviously this doesn't scale exactly right. This is Masterpiece scale, and these guys are Deluxe scale. So it's not going to be apples to apples, but hey, I wanted to bring in some red sports cars so we could do some comparisons there. So overall, again, not a bad car mode. It's ambiguous enough that Hasbro's not going to get sued, but it still looks nice and sporty. I just wish that it wouldn't have so many gaps in the panels, and it would be nice if my copy had wheels that rolled. But, you know, I guess you can't have everything, right? So, all right, that being said, let's move these two guys out of the way, and we will get Dino back in his robot mode. So, getting back into his robot mode, what I found is the easiest thing to do is just kind of apply a little bit of pressure right here. And that's going to give you enough of a gap where you can grab that door and pull that door out of the way. Do the same thing over here. Get both those doors out of the way. Then you're going to want to pull that apart just enough to grab this bumper out of there. Bring the other side out. And when you do, if you haven't already done so like I did, pull it up and rotate it 180 degrees. Swing that up on the deck lid. Get that out of your way. That's going to free the legs up, so now you can swing the legs down. So just grab those feet, pull it out away from the chest a little bit to clear the chest, and swing those legs down. Do that for both sides. And come down here, rotate those knees 180 degrees, drop those feet, rotate the knee, drop the feet, and then you can squeeze in these side skirts. And you have the legs done. All right, so the next thing that you want to do is you're going to want to turn your attention up here to the arms. So just gently pull up. That way you clear those tabs and slots underneath here. And then give the hands a nice little tug so you can pry those arms apart. And if you want, you know, just give that a little twist right there so you know that you're clear. And then you're going to pull the arms, separate them from the front of the vehicle, and swing those up so they're out of your way. And now you can grab this chest head assembly, pull that down, get that out of the way, pull the weapons out while you're here. And turn your attention back up here to the top. So for this assembly, you're going to, if you want right now, you can go ahead and collapse this bumper. Get that bumper out of the way. That's actually going to kind of push the arms out in the orientation they should be anyway. And then swing this 180 degrees. And it doesn't really matter what the arms look like right now because you're getting ready to collapse all this in. So now you can accordion all of this back in. So it's just going to collapse in like this. And when you do that, this rear deck and this bumper, you're just going to bring it up on that, on the point of rotation for that. So grab the bumper. I'm trying to hold it and show you. Grab the bumper and pull that up. And then once you do that, you have these two slots and tabs. Collapse that in. And there you have the body collapsed back in. And now you're going to rotate this so it comes down. And as you do, just be careful of your doors. Make sure they go along for the ride and they don't get caught on anything. Bring those up. And move the arms out of the way just a little bit. And then squeeze that together. All right. So you should have something that looks like that, all accordioned up. Go ahead and get your arms out of, or your doors out of the way now. And then with the head, pull the head forward. And now you have these two tabs right there on the back of the head. They're going to correspond to the slot there and the slot right there. And you're going to bring this assembly up and you're going to squeeze this all together. And you'll get a nice little snap, and that is what holds Dino together. So now you're in the home stretch. Just straighten out these double hinges. Turn the arm and turn the wrist. Same thing over here, straighten out that double hinge. Turn the arm, turn the wrist, and you have Dino back in his robot mode. All right, there you go. So from an aesthetics standpoint, from a looks, he looks nice. You know, there's no arguing that. But before I start the official comparisons, doesn't he look an awful lot like somebody? I'm just saying, you know, there are many shades of Stinger in Dino. Or maybe it's the other way around. Since he was in an earlier movie, there are many shades of Dino in Stinger. Both of them are just absolutely handsome. Really good looking guys. Anyway, he's not really part of the official comparison because I'm doing comparisons with Dark of the Moon characters, and he's not from that movie, but I couldn't help but notice the similarities as I was playing with him. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and we'll put his blades back on. So we will plug it in, and we will plug it in. And try to tilt his arms out a little bit so you can see him. Maybe give him the old Superman pose. There we go. So yeah, overall, I think that's a good looking figure. I just wish it was more articulated. There we go. All right, so for comparison, like I said, we're just going to bring in some of the other Studio Series Dark of the Moon figures out of the collection. And we'll go ahead and we'll start with one of the Wreckers. So there he is with Road Buster. Not too bad looking together. And then we will bring in the Studio Series Soundwave from Dark of the Moon. All right. Next, we will bring in Ironhide. I think it looks pretty good together. Then we will bring in Sentinel Prime. A lot of red and black going on right there. Next, we will bring in Shockwave. And last, but certainly not least, we will bring in Megatron. So there you go. That is Dino from Dark of the Moon with some comparisons to some of the other Dark of the Moon characters. Yeah, I guess we could do a family portrait here. I mean, we're mixing Autobots and Decepticons, but if you don't tell anyone, neither will I. So we'll bring a few of these guys in. Let's see. You've got such a wide stance. I mean, his arms are so wide. It takes up a lot of room. All right, there we go. And we'll bring in Soundwave and Roadbuster. All right, there you go. So, my final thoughts on this guy. I'm on the fence. I was really looking forward to this figure. I knew he was coming out. I was looking forward to his release. And I don't know if I just, hyped up my own expectations, but I'm overall disappointed in this release. The lack of paint apps, the limited articulation, the quasi-Ferrari car mode, and I know that has to do with licensing. That's out of Hasbro's control, but still. And then the car mode itself, with the panel gaps and with 2 of the 4 wheels not spinning freely. I have a level of disappointment here. If some of those issues could be addressed, then I would be able to recommend this figure. As it is right now, I don't know. It's, again, if you're a completionist and this is a figure you've been looking forward to, it doesn't matter what I say. I mean, you're going to make your choice and you're going to get him or not get him based on your own personal preferences. But if I were to do it all over again, I don't know. I definitely would not pay more than retail for this guy. I picked him up for retail. So, again, I have to, I guess, gauge my expectations against the price point. I mean, he's under $20 US. So I guess maybe I'm expecting too much out of this figure. That's always possible. So with that being said, he looks nice with the rest of the group. I don't enjoy him as much as some of the other figures. For instance, the Studio Series Soundwave. I just think this Soundwave looks great in both modes, and I think he has more of a degree of playability than Dino does. And maybe it is hints of Stinger that's maybe giving me a little bit of a sour taste as well. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're not the same mold, it's not the same transformation, everything is completely different. It's just that color scheme, and they just have a lot of similarities. But overall, like I said, guys, it's going to be your choice. Take my opinion for what it is. It's just an opinion. There's no fact there. But if you like this guy, pick him up. I know he's starting to show up in stores. Just don't pay more than retail for him. I don't think he's worth more than retail. So with that, I'm going to wrap up the review. I'll end the video by, the shameless plug of saying, if you like what we do here, if you're watching us on YouTube, give us a like. If you're watching us on rumble.com or the Rumble app, hit that Rumble button. Either place, if you haven't already, please subscribe. We're going to be bringing more videos out to you. And as always, leave us some comments. Let us know what we could be doing better. Let us know what you guys would like to see. We grow this channel with your help, and we make this channel better with your help. So this is a group effort here, everybody. The more involvement we get, the better we're going to make this thing. So with that, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you get back to your day. Thanks again for watching. We'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.